G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. Spawning in over on the north side of the map, playing as the blue Chinese. We've got B. Spawning on the opposite side of the map, playing as the red French. We've got Hut. Now this game might seem a little bit confusing because we've got our red flag player in the blue and we've got our blue flag player in the red, but we'll try our best to keep it all together. Try and remember we got France down to the south. So for anybody who hasn't seen this map before, this is one of the brand new maps done by Biddlen that is being used through the Road to Red Bull Wololo Legacy, and it is going to be called Four Lakes. This is originally an Age of Empires 2 map. It's been ported across. And I gotta say, I love this map. I think it's really good. A lot of civ diversity on this map. I'm assuming both of the players have banned out the Rus here from each other, which is why we don't actually see it here. But this is going to be game number 2 in the series between these two guys. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we've got. Now, if you don't want spoilers, well, I won't give them to you. So you have to go back and watch game number 1. It'll be the video uploaded immediately before this one that you'll see on the channel. But we can see the dock already coming down now for B. Playing as the Chinese, it can be tough trying to find enough resources in the early game to make sure your town center isn't idle, to make sure that you're able to get those fishing boats out, but it looks like he's found a way. So he's going to be rushing up that house. Fortunately, no idle time there, so pretty nice beginning from him. Let's go check in on the other side and see how Hut is doing. So for anybody unfamiliar with Hut, the Australian sensation, as I like to call him, he's I'd probably say one of the best Australian players. We've got a lot of good Australian players. We've got Hut, we've got Yaguz, we've got Dinky, Veggie, Snooper. There's a lot of good Australian players out there, but I think Hut, probably the consistently the highest rated out of them, has a lot of good performances in tournaments as well. So it's great to see him playing here in the Road to Red Bull Wololo. Hopefully he has a good performance, because I'm looking forward to seeing more Australians in the competitive scene. But opening at this point in time looks to be very safe, and interestingly going the French here as well. So when it comes to this map, obviously 4 lakes, the reason why it's called so is because there are 4 lakes. There's a reason why it's not called 5 lakes. But the French are going to have a pretty decent advantage here just because of the Hulk. So obviously one of the big factors here is if you are able to secure a pond, well, that doesn't mean that your enemy can't go and take another pond. So, you know, in the example that we see here, Hut, you know, maybe we see B go for some sort of aggressive play. You know what, now that I'm thinking about it, it makes more sense, like bring down a Barbican over here and then drop down a dock and then look to try and be aggressive over here. This could work a lot. By the same token, you could just see a Barbican just dropped right down on the face. Hit that gold nice and easy. It's going to be hard for Hut to find secondary sources of gold, but they are close by. But we'll watch to see how B looks to play it, though. Already got plenty of fishing boats out there. We can see 4 fishing boats out for him at this stage, whereas 3 fishing boats only out for his opponent at this point in time. So China coming in strong. You guys know I love a little bit of Chinese play here, and it is absolutely going to be the case here with B. Going to be sending out a villager over towards that gold mine. Now, one of the things to note is that this dock is pretty close when it comes to its proximity to the town center. So one of the things that you can look to do is try and gather up some of the tax. You can see it there, but it is only 1 tax. These guys are dropping off 40 food, and they still only drop off 1 tax. Man, that is painful. I got to tell you, that is very, very painful. But you can hear him picking up the tax, dropping it off. So that's always going to be an option for him as well, but has now moved a couple villages out onto gold as well. But let's talk about what we expect to happen for this game. So you'd expect a large part of this game, it's going to be about water control, and it's going to be about China not dying at the early stages of the game. So whether China looks to try and... this is not good. The map should not spawn like this. Okay, so what has happened here? This is really bad. So typically, the way that this map should spawn is that it has rocks in the middle. So you basically got a spot you can put a dock down over here, a spot you can put a dock down over there. But the problem is with the way that this is spawned, specifically to the top, is that I don't think you can fit a dock here, which means you're gonna have to put a dock there. It's just a little bit further away. You know, it's a bit frustrating, that's all. So look, not the best gen, but you know, it's still a work in progress, Plenty of villagers coming out over to this gold mine. Makes me think that we might have a little bit of a Song Dynasty on our hands. Either that or a fast castle. Now that's always going to be an option for B as well on the Chinese. Up against the French, I start to scratch my head a little bit just with their aggression. It can be difficult. We can see the villagers moving into position. He just had to cash in right there. Plenty of villagers coming out. 6 villagers going to be going up with the School of Cavalry. Compare that over to the Imperial Academy, which is going to be only 4 villagers here for him. He's actually deleted one of the mills and now put down a new mill here, just to avoid any random village drop-off. Sometimes you can get unfortunate drop-offs here with the Chinese, but now going to be dropping down his first villager up on this gold mine. But he's got a nice little spawn here, honestly. I reckon that he could be going for some sort of fast castle play here. I would like that a lot. And you can see him moving up towards the north here, actually going to be thinking about dropping down a second dock. But the consequence of Hutt's early scouts might mean that he gets spotted out. And you can see there's a stealth forest in there actually protecting the villager from being spotted out now. But it's going to be very quickly kept or found out here by the scouts. We hear that the wheelbarrows now come through as well for Hutt. He's on the way up to age 2. And my suspicion is that there's going to be a bit of early aggression out here. And I think the question is, where does he go from here? Because he's obviously heavily gathering up on the fish for the moment. And he can leverage that to do a number of things. The biggest thing that comes to mind is some sort of feudal push. Ideally, you want to avoid getting any kind of long game situations up against China. And that's probably the best way that he could go about it. So some sort of push that looks to take them out. But now we see B actually going into extended lines here. This is not something that I've seen. Okay, did he cancel it? Yeah, okay, he's cancelled it. So instead going to be going into forestry and wheelbarrow. So some curious decision making there. In the middle of the map, we hear a villager that is going to get caught out of position. It's going to have to head back towards his base. Up towards the north. That dock is going up at the moment. We'll check in with Hutt and see how he's doing as he's got more villagers moving to the gold mine. And indeed, it's going to be archery rangers coming out for him. So I suspect it's going to be a heavy feudal play. We did see, was that wood cutting coming through? Or double broadaxe? Yeah, it was double broadaxe coming through. But it looks like it was cancelled as well. So 2 upgrades cancelled in this early stage of the game. Scouts finding each other. Walls going up at the moment. You can see he's trying to wall up. He's done a pretty decent job of actually walling up everything. Scout going to be able to stand on top of that and prevent that from coming through. Now, remember, we've got ourselves a knight on the way. So he's going to be able to hold this down, and with that, the knight going to be able to get behind enemy lines and then get into that wood line potentially. Spearman already coming out. Barbican going to be dropped down safely, so no sneaky shenanigans coming out from the B today. No, sorry, Bob. Wall coming down on this south side as well. He's going to be able to make it behind the walls, so not fully walled in. Spearman coming out here, looking to try and get in. Villager going to be able to drop down that wall segment, but probably going to be losing his life for it. Scout out here as well. Both of these units, got to be careful not to lose their lives. But it looks like the Spearman going to be able to take down both of the scouts, so that's definitely a positive for him. But now we've got more walls coming down here, but I'm pretty sure there's a hole in between these. Indeed, there is a hole. He's now looked to try and get the gap closer in. That's not going to be the case here. Another villager going to be going down here. Immediately vanishes into the water, and now that archer going to be able to pick off the remnants. And so this is the difficult spot for China, right? Because there's this early stage where it's just so hard for you to match the numbers that are coming out from Hutt on the French. And now we see 5 villagers coming forward as well. You guys know exactly what this is going to be. It's going to be an outpost that gets thrown down, and this is why this wall was so important. And you can see that. Interesting farm. He drops down the outpost instead. It's a little bit of a misclick. We do see that misclick quite a bit. And you can see the re-wall coming through. So he's trying to get the re-wall around the back, but the reinforcement's going to be able to pick this one up. Now keep in mind the junk going to be able to prevent villagers over on this left side. He's actually able to reach that outpost. He's trying to get it up as quickly as possible. You can see the junk moving in. This could be a devastating blow early if this does get up. And that's going to be the second villager going down. So he's managed to match it so far and unable to get the rest of them. Now we now see arrow slits coming through. This is a really difficult moment here. And you can see Hutt just heavily committing to this behind. We've got double stable as well as just that single range. Super smart move here from Hutt. So the Chinese have a difficult time answering to the early game pressure that gets thrown out by these mass knights, because the reality is that they can try and match this. We can see the villagers evacuating now, but they can try and match this through a second stable themselves. But the reality is that the archers are always just going to have the one up, and so it makes it very easy to micro for them. So we've seen a couple of different responses coming out from China. So the most common one that you will see is barracks as well as stable. But this is a dangerous composition, because if you don't have enough spearmen, you will lose to the knights. That is the reality. But speaking of losing to the knights, we've got a junk that might be losing its mind over here on the west side. Manages to escape. A couple of those villagers, or the outpost, was still firing down on it. We now see fortification coming through as well for him. Moving up around the north side, and you can see B is definitely in a tough spot. Also going to be getting additional sales from him, so still no extended lines in just yet. He's not supervising it. Keep in mind, you can't actually supervise the dock. It would be way too strong if you could. Could you imagine that? Faster fishing boat production and additional food. I'm sure there was one time in Age of Empires, you know, in Age of Empires 4, like maybe in the alpha or something where you could supervise it, but not that I've ever seen. Outpost now coming up. Villagers going to get taken out. There's going to be the second one that gets taken out. A whole bunch of horsemen going to be coming out here. No armor coming through for them. A huge amount of knights. And this is where that fishing economy really comes in. And this is what's so damn difficult to deal with this mass here for China, because the burden is on the Chinese player to be able to defend, whereas the French player is always going to be able to easily disengage with the knights. Knights always going to be able to roam around. So one of the things we have seen Chinese players doing is look to go for a fast castle. This is something that we've seen, and they go into lances of all things. It can be difficult to pull off, but here it's going to even be more difficult for B to try and hold this on. He's trying for dear life, but unfortunately it's not looking pretty at this point in time. Villagers over on this side as well going to have to fall back away from this. They're going to be able to head towards the Barbican, and I can't help but feel like the Barbican really not able to achieve much in this position. You know, had he brought it out here, maybe it could cut off reinforcements or provide a little bit more of cover towards this central position, but you can see the numbers at this stage in the game for Hutt are just so superior to what the Chinese player is able to pull out. His population capped right now. B on the other side, though, he's got plenty of population space, but it really just goes to show how Hutt is doing. And now we see those outposts coming up as well. Great use of outposts as well, aggressively using them, and we can see arrow slits now coming through for both of these. Also going to be getting +1 behind this. I love the way that Hutt is playing this, reinforcing with outposts. I say I love it because it's very effective, but to be honest, I absolutely despise it. I don't think that this is the intention of the way that outposts should be used, and so I don't like it at all, but at the same time, it's a beautiful style from Hutt. To see coming out. The way that he's able to reinforce this, it kind of reminds me of the English. Obviously, the English are able to get those outposts up because it provides the network of castles, but you can see Hutt just doing this just because it creates this little defensive choke point. And now a whole bunch of horsemen just going to get picked up there. We see 1, 2, 3 horsemen. Might even be a 4th one that goes down here. And because of that, it really creates a difficult spot now. We'll check back over and see how B is doing. Woodline on the front, completely taken out. Woodline on the side, taken out as well. He's got nowhere that he can gather wood from. The alternative is that he can move out onto the map somewhere, but he's got absolutely nowhere to do that. And now he's in a difficult position because he's got no access to wood. And with that, only a few straggler trees remain in the base. And that, unfortunately, is not going to be enough. So he is in a dire situation right now. We'll take a look over towards Hutt space and see how he's doing. He's still on 1 base, and you can see an actual Junkers come out from B now. Going to be looking to apply some pressure over in this pond. It's going to force at the very least a Hulk out to try and meet it. So a decent investment there. Keep in mind the dock did go down as well from China. God, it's so hard to see these the blue units when they meld in with the water so easily. If we take a look right now, you know, hold on, can I do that? Yeah, look at, you can see the red unit stands out like dog's balls, but when the blue unit, it's barely even there, man. That is crazy, the advantage that you get from being blue, just looking on the minimap. It's so difficult when those buildings are on the waterfront, but now we've got the French aggression just coming out, taking out more and more villagers over here. These guys were tasked to chop the straggler tree, but they've moved over towards this position, and more villagers going to be going down now. Hutt sitting at the moment on 54 villagers, 58 for B. More villagers going to be going down. We hear horns going off everywhere, sirens going off everywhere. He's going to be able to pick up a couple of the archers here in the berries, but unfortunately, not enough forces to go through. And you can see this is what I was talking about in the early stages. If you want to try and play up against the French, you need to know that they're double stable, because if you don't know that they're double stable, you're not going to be able to produce enough spears to overwhelm them. And the thing is, you're never going to be able to engage this mass because the knight numbers are just always going to be able to beat you out no matter what. You're just going to be picked off, or all of your spearmen just going to be picked off, and it's going to be so difficult for you. And now we can see even more villagers going down, and this is such an oppressive style coming out from Hutt here. We can really see just how stuck B is in his base. I would honestly recommend get a transport ship out, try and sneak 15 villagers up over into it, come over here. Beautiful play by B. That's exactly what he's done. Very smart play from B to do that. He's found his tertiary woodline, and I love that he did it before I even called it out. So that is beautiful. A really smart move there from B. Because I was aware earlier that, you know, he's walled this up completely, but there is this wood line. He just deletes the wall. I was going to say you can just chuck a gate through there, but he's got the transport ship there in the event he needs to evacuate, and it's a smart move. Think about it. A transport ship, it acts as an outpost for 15 villagers, or technically, I think 16 villagers. Yeah, 16 villagers. So, I mean, that is beautiful when you think about it. People should start using that a little bit more as pseudo outposts that can just move. That is a great... It's kind of like a battering ram, isn't it, in that way? Because a battering ram could do the same. When are we going to start seeing battering rams on the defensive, dude? You don't need 3 outposts. I got a battering ram, baby. That'll do everything I need. Everything, all the villagers going to be jumping inside that outpost. You can see he's just in such a hard spot right now. I don't even know how he plays this as more outposts continue coming up. And we can see French just backing China into a corner now. This is probably one of the hardest matchups that you can get as China. I used to think this matchup was very, very easy as China. But then, I don't know, something just changed in the mind of the French players. They worked out, well, hold on, I can do... You know, the hardest thing for, I think, China to, for China to deal with is 2 TC into a feudal all-in. Now, obviously, in this situation, Hut, instead of going into that second TC, says, I'm just going to use my dock as my second TC. He doesn't even need it. We hear villagers all around the map just getting attacked by wolves. I don't know why at this point in the game it's going to be the case, but now villagers over on this west side going to get chased down. Transport ship actually came back to bring over more villagers, but at the same time, an attack hits here. And now we've got to fight back towards the base. It's going to be a huge amount of knights that are coming in. And you can see the knights just by themselves are going to be able to overwhelm this. He's got archers on the back line, not to mention the damn outposts. It looks so difficult for B to fight this one. It's definitely an uphill battle. And the knights just seem to just be completely controlling this. This is the victory condition right here for China, or for France rather. It is knights. And it's such a simple thing. And one of the things that I often talk about with, you know, what's the Chinese victory condition? Well, it's 2 TC Song Dynasty, surviving, get to Imperial, get to 12 range bombards, and then you've got yourself a fighting chance. But for the French, what's the victory condition? Having more knights than what your enemy can handle, and then that's the victory condition. Because now you can just rampage through the enemy's base, your knights are healing up to full health, you don't have to worry about any sort of counterplay. If there is any kind of spearmen that come out, you just run away from them. It's very, very easy to do, and you can see the knight numbers up to 17 right now. I wouldn't be surprised in this position when you've got this many knights, it becomes more effective for you. Instead of taking the fights in feudal, start thinking about moving up to the castle age. Look to go for the Royal Institute. Look to get that Royal Bloodline tech. Get your veteran upgrades. And then, once you've got all of those upgrades, look for a strike. And there's almost no way that your units are going to be going down. But you can see the mass that he's got out here is just so absolutely huge. It's almost like he doesn't even need to think about that at this point. It feels like Hut is very far ahead. B on the other side, you can see, might be thinking about a little bit of an age up, but he's going to continue struggling. Spearman going to be coming out here. He's going to be trying to hold on, trying to get off the brace. It's not going to happen here. The charge going to connect with a couple of those spears. They continue falling back towards the outposts and managing to keep those villagers nice and safe. The number of knights are just absolutely superior, but keep in mind, this is a tournament game, which is why B is going to be holding on for dear life. We'll check in over on Hut's side and see how he's doing. He's got plenty of villagers in the queue. We did hear that his fishing economy has been completely shut down over on this east side. So if there's anything that he's managed to get back into the game with, it's got to be that. 51 villagers for him. Compare that over to B. He's only on 41, so it's really not terrible. The main issue that he's going to have are those military numbers. So he needs to try and find a way to delay. That's going to be the big thing. But the problem is he can't really delay the game because the Barbican that he's got, it's not positioned to secure resources. The only thing that it's looking to really secure is this stone outcropping. And unfortunately, there are 3 outposts all within range of taking it. Another villager going to be going down on the south side here. More villagers coming down. He's just completely taking control of this game. Hut looking in absolutely formidable form. There's a couple of galleys that are rallying over there. But Hut does not, at this point in time, look intent on aging up. He's going to be careful, actually, with these villagers. These might die if he's not careful. That junk might just be slightly out of range. Oh, my lord. You can hear all of the buildings attacking B right now. And yeah, you can see, okay, he's managed to spot that one out. So he's going to be able to take out the first of the villagers. There's a lot of... you can't even see the minimap. Look at the minimap right now for B. It's impossible to see anything. He's got that many attack alerts coming down for him. Compare that to Hut. Hut's got the entire minimap undercovered. Only being attacked in one place. It's going to be that dock that initially came up. But now we can see Hut moving towards a potential age up here. He does actually have the Hulk that's going to be coming out here, looking to try and gain control of this position on the backside. Now we've seen expansion come up from B in the north. Oh my god. We've seen B expanding up towards the north, also expanding out towards the west. He could look to actually expand down towards that eastern side as well. But he's just continuing to struggle with villagers, just throwing them away, moving on land. But you can see the outposts here are going to be able to take down the majority of these transport ships. The villagers just getting cleaned up. At the same time, on the backside of the base, we see the archers just chilling out for the moment. Outposts are up, looking strong. Where are those knights, though? Those knights down towards the south there. They can smell the villagers. They're trying to get a little bit of a wall up. And so many damn knights out for his opponent right now. Hut just looking absolutely awesome. We'll check in with him and see how he's doing. under attack in a number of different areas. We see that the junks have actually found the mill. He's now turned all of these villagers onto wood choppers instead because he's scared that they might go and gather up the hunt on the other side. Turning all of the military units as well as a couple of the villagers now towards that outpost. He's actually going to be looking to try and sneak this wall up. If he's able to get this wall up, he's going to be able to potentially look to regather over here, but the problem's going to be he's got outposts on this opposite side as well. Hut really just forcing him into a difficult spot. We'll ride on board with B and see how he's doing, as we've got a bit of a sandwich coming in. This could actually be bad right now for Hut. He's definitely overcommitted, and all of the horsemen are going to be able to run in at this point. Jump in around all of the archers and going to be able to clean them up, at least for the moment. Keep in mind, spearmen are out here as well. They're going to be looking to try and get in on the edge of the map, but there's so many damn spearmen in here anyway. Villagers going to be turning their attention towards that outpost. We can see that the fortification's going to be coming through. Knight's going to be running towards the remaining archers, and with that, going to be able to clean up those horsemen. At the same time, the spear's going to be turning their attention towards the outpost. Definitely not where you want them. And now the archers have made their way through. Going to be able to finally take down the outpost, oh, good game gets called. I was going to remark on the fact that we just saw B wall himself out. He had a couple of spearmen trying to get through there. Good game gets called. So that's going to be 2-0 in this series, fellas. Game 3 going to be coming up next on the channel. Make sure you check it out. And if you've missed game 2, well, I spoiled it for you. So don't bother going to check that one out. That one's already done.